All right? How were they able to do it? They were dead. They were in hospice. The Dodgers were in hospice. They were down 3-1. They were buried. There was a line of clergymen coming in to give them their last rites, and the Dodgers ended up beating Atlanta. So I've got the loogie, the notch, and the aristocrats, and we will combine all these things together. Now, Dave Roberts did the thing that Dave Roberts normally doesn't do. He went outside of his comfort zone. This was not a paint-by-number situation. We've been very, very critical here. We've been very critical on the radio over the last couple of years about Dave Roberts and his in-game decision-making, which very rarely does he actually make any in-game decisions. It's whatever the talking points before the game are. The big one here, the big one in Game 7, Clayton Kershaw did not sniff the field, and that was wonderful. They kept Kershaw on ice. It would have been very easy if you go by the book and say, all right, we're going to bring Kershaw in. We're going to go through the entire pitching staff. We're going to nurse this pitcher after pitcher. Dave Roberts, to his credit, and I believe this was Dave Roberts. I don't think this was a mandate from above, but he put his big boy pants on. He did. He stepped away from the tenets of analytics, at least in that game in the later stages here. He spit a loogie, a big old fat juicy loogie into the Bible of sabermetrics there. He did, and I like it. I liked it a lot. And riding the coattails, right, jumping on the back of Julio Urias and saying, all right, lead us to the promised land. For 3 innings of hitless, scoreless baseball, goose egg after goose egg after goose egg for Urias, who was outstanding. And as a result, the Dodgers avoided, not only did they avoid the thunder, they avoided the lightning. Thunder and lightning. I'm talking about Clayton Kershaw and Kenley Jansen. These guys who have made a habit in recent times here of puking, taking a ride on the vomit comet in some of these big games. And Dave Roberts, he had Kenley Jansen warming up. He had him in the bullpen there warming up, but he didn't go to him. And so this is hopefully a stepping stone. If you like the Dodgers, this is a stepping stone situation. You don't have to go by the paint by numbers situation, right? You can be something other than a push button manager, which, well, who cares? If you have a push button manager, if you don't trust your gut at all, you can just hire some algorithm to manage your team. And we've been ranting and raving about this. While analytics are great, it gets you to a certain point, but they're not machines. People are not machines. Now, part B of this. So Dave Roberts, good job by him not going to Kenley Jansen and Clayton Kershaw. But the Dodger offense, this is a notch in the belt for the much maligned Dodger offense. They kept the pressure on. They did not fold up the tent when the Braves got a crooked number early in the game. And I kept silent. I bit my tongue, but Kike Hernandez and Cody Bellinger both hitting solo home runs, 6th and 7th inning for L.A., and we had mentioned coming in here that Atlanta had a couple of high-priced cars in the front of the rotation. They had Max Fried and Ian Anderson, the Porsche and the Maserati of that pitching staff at the beginning. Outside of that, you had a bunch of jalopies and cars that were okay, but not all that great. And for the Dodgers to beat Atlanta's big guns was a shot of, obviously, confidence heading in to the World Series now. The Dodgers, the first NL team to rally back from down 2-0 and 3-1 in the same series. First time since the St. Louis Cardinals of the mid-'80s, who did it against the Dodgers, and they had Jack Clark, Willie McGee, and Vince Coleman, players like that in the mid-'80s. That's the last time a National League team has done it. It's happened a few times in the American League. Now, it absolutely helped. Now, I would be remiss if I did not give a tip of the cap to the Atlanta Braves, because the Dodgers finally met their match of suckage in the Atlanta Braves as these guys collectively blew it. They're like, all right, hey, hold my beer. I'm going in. Right? Dustin May started this game for the Dodgers with 8 consecutive balls out of the strike zone, right? He walked the first 2 batters, then Ozzie Albies hit a ribby single. It was 1-0 after 3 batters into the game of a Game 7. We know the biggest problem with the Game 7 is tight Tookis syndrome, and how guys tighten up, they turtle up in these situations. And you figure Atlanta, you're playing with the lead. You've got a 1-0 lead. Then Dansby Swanson hits the home run in the second. You're up 2-0. You got a crooked number. And that was almost it. That was almost it there as the Dodgers then tied the game on a 2-run single by Will Smith because of the shift. Again, analytics, right? The shift. If the Braves had been playing normal, Will Smith doesn't get the 2-run single. They got cute. He got the 2-run single. And then, again, Austin Riley, he had an RBI single. So they went back ahead. So they are up 1-0, 2-0, and then 3-2. And so the Braves had 3 different leads in a Game 7 with one of their top 2 pitchers on the mound at the beginning of the game. And they gave it away. They blew it. Now, to Atlanta's offense, it seemed like it did seem the perception that they were better than they were. They only had 3 hits in the game, but they had a lot of action on the bases. There were 6 walks by Dodger pitching. And considering that none of those came in the final 3 innings, they had 6 walks and 3 hits in the first part of the game. And so there were a lot of people on base for the Braves. Now, the other narrative here, I want to address it. I'll get back to the Dodgers and the World Series and all that. But I've heard a lot on television, and I have read a lot online in different pundits of baseball that the Atlanta Braves are here to stay, that this team is going to be part of the landscape, and they're going to be a constant World Series type of team over the next couple of years. And I would be very careful before I make that statement. The Atlanta Braves, because I look at this, and I remember when the Cubs won the World Series a few years back, and they talked about, oh, my God, this Cub team set up. It's going to be a dynasty. They got all these young guys, and they're going to get better and better and better. Well, it doesn't always work out like that. Yeah, Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ian Anderson, I think they're 22. Ozzie Albies is 23. Dansby Swanson's not that old. Max Fried, I think they're in their mid-20s. And so they've got those young guys, but don't fall for the fallacy of youth. You still have to go out and actually get it done, right? You have to get it done, and Atlanta couldn't get it done. These guys choked. They also have some free agents that are going to likely depart Georgia in the offseason. All right, last word here. So when you look at the World Series, the tail of the tape, just like a boxing match, you got to look at the tail of the tape. And this scares me because the Dodgers have the advantage on paper from A to Z. The Dodgers are clearly the better team in this World Series. If you just base it off what has happened, which doesn't guarantee what's going to happen, but based on the data that we have, the Dodgers should win this World Series. They should win it in no more than 6 games. The Dodgers bring in the name brand players. Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger, a former MVP, a couple former MVPs, Clayton Kershaw. The Rays bring in a bunch of no-names to this, right? It's the Flotsam and the Jetsam on one side over here, and then on the other side you have the aristocrats, right, which are the Dodgers. The Dodgers have the second highest payroll in baseball. The Tampa Bay Rays are 28th in payroll. The Dodgers just gave out a forever contract to Mookie Betts after getting him from the Red Sox. He will be a Dodger for well over a decade. He'll be in Los Angeles. Tampa, they might not even be in Florida, the franchise, by the time the Mookie Betts contract is done, if you know where I'm going with that. And as far as the whole pitching matchup, pitching and defense, the Dodgers statistically were better than Tampa Bay during the regular season. I'll say that's a wash. I'll even give the Tampa Bay Rays an edge defensively. I will say that Tampa Bay is a better defensive team from top to bottom than the Dodgers. So if I say the pitching's a wash, the defense a slight edge to the Rays, well, where's the big dichotomy here? Well, the big chasm, offense. The Dodgers were number 1 in runs scored. Number 1. They were also number 1 in slugging in all of baseball this season. They were 5th in on-base percentage, and that is the weak link of this Tampa Bay Rays team. That is it. They were 11th in on-base percentage, 15th in slugging, 21st in batting average. It is an open secret that Tampa, the reason they got to the World Series in large part was because of an out-of-body experience. So how do you stop Tampa Bay, which has been on this great run? We thank them from the bottom of our heart for beating the Astros. Good job by Tampa. Good job. Fortunately, I'm on the other side in the World Series, but I still thank you for beating the Astros. Well, the key to beating Tampa Bay. This is not brain surgery. This is not that hard. It's just baseball. The new Mr. October, Randy Arozarena. This guy has been nutso for Tampa Bay. He's the Incredible Hulk of the Tampa Bay Rays. 7 home runs, 47 total bases in this postseason run. And that is the key. You want to kill the Tampa Bay Rays there, you cut off the head. The head is Randy Arozarena, who in the postseason, as I said, 7 home runs, 47 total bases. You contain him, and then you've got around him a collection of mostly punch and Judy hitters that aren't going to scare the hell out of you around that lineup. And a lot of pitchers will be coming in and rotating in who are all about the same for the Tampa Bay Rays. So that's the situation heading in to the World Series, which will begin on Tuesday. Let's hear, though, before we put the baby to bed, let's hear from Dave Roberts, who pointed out, as we said in the monologue here, he decided to go with his gut and ride out his really outstanding relief pitcher in this game, Julio Urias.
Kenley's been great. He's been absolutely great, and we wouldn't be on our way to the World Series without him. But I just think in that moment, Julio, with the day's rest, how he was throwing the baseball, in preceding days, what we asked of Kenley as far as usage-wise, and just to kind of ride the hot hand right there. And, you know, Kenley was one of the first people that came and gave me a huge hug and congratulated all of us and talked about winning 4 more. So that just speaks to him as a leader and as a teammate.
See, ride the hot hand. That is no analytical book will say ride the hot hand. It does not exist, right? It does not exist in analytics. They don't believe in that. And listen, I'm not, as I've ranted and raved, I don't believe in momentum. I do believe in confidence. And when someone's got it going, where they're confident and they're succeeding, and when you succeed, it then leads to more success, and you start stacking stuff on top of each other. And that's what was going on there for the Dodgers. So they get the win. They're on to the World Series. They are a favorite to beat the Tampa Bay Rays and win the first championship since Tommy Lasorda was managing and Kirk Gibson was hitting a home run in Game 1, the only appearance he had in the 1988 World Series.